Hi everyone and welcome to this week's episode, which will be about me being stepmom and getting ready for my baby. So I will talk about my triggers, about the bio mom label, which is going around in the stepmom world. I will talk about what we put in a place with my husband in terms of getting ready for the baby and much more. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the label or title biomom. So if you're familiar with the Facebook chats or Instagram posts, a lot of people, a lot of stepmoms, especially stepmoms, obviously, using biomom to describe the mother of their stepchildren or themselves. They're like, oh, I'm stepmom and biomom, or these are my bio kids and these are my stepchildren. And I think I used it few times at the beginning when I started my Instagram account in terms of mother of my stepdaughter. And then I was thinking it just doesn't feel right. I don't like it. I don't like calling her that way. So I stopped using it and I don't use it in any other way. Like when I'm talking to other stepmom, I'm not saying, oh, the bio mom. I'm just talking mother of your stepchildren, or the ex-wife, or whatever, when I'm coaching, whatever the stepmom prefers. And but I don't feel very comfortable, and it sort of triggers me when someone calls me that I will be bio mom when my baby is born, and like how it is like adding a bio child to our step family. And I find that it really triggers me, and it just doesn't suit me. It's not me. I don't like it. It's something like I would never describe myself like. I would never go and introduce myself like, oh, I'm bio mom. I would never have my child and stepdaughter and introducing them or just talking about them, to someone that's like, oh no, that's my bio child and my biological child, and that's my stepchild. I would never do that. It just doesn't feel right. It feels weird. I find it that the whole biological child and biological mom should be used only when it comes to adoptions. When someone says like, oh, I have a biological mom, but my adoptive mom is my mom, so when they have to explain that, they're like, oh, I am adopted, or when you have to explain to someone like, yeah, like I'm not the biological mother when it comes to like emergencies or medical stuff, but otherwise I would never ever describe myself as a biomom. I find it offensive, and I know that people don't mean it. If someone will tell me that, I know they don't mean to offend me or degrade me or anything like that. It's just the kind of title which works in stepmom world or community, but it just doesn't work for me, and I don't like it. It's just something that just comes like, no, don't call me that way, please. I'm not bio mom. I will be mom, and my child will be my child, and my stepdaughter is my stepdaughter, but I never go and say, oh, she's my stepdaughter. The same way, I would never go and talk to my stepdaughter mom and tell her to her face, she's like, so you bio mom or your biological mother. Like, I think like if someone would tell me, if I would be a single mom and a stepmom would tell me that, I don't know what I would do. I think I would get mad. And so again, I know that people don't mean it in a bad way. It's just make it clear in the chat rooms that like who's who. But I just don't like it, and it really kind of triggers me. And I don't, like, you wouldn't go to mother of your stepchildren and you wouldn't call her bio mom into her face, right? So again, if other stepmoms are okay with it, if you stepmom and your mom as well, and you are okay with the bio mom using for yourself, that's perfectly okay. But I always say, even if there's just one stepmom out there who is feeling the same way I do, and she's now, oh my God, I hate it as well. I don't like it. I'm so glad I'm not the only one. That's why I'm here. Even if there's just one stepmom out there, I'm, you're not alone. I hate it too, and I'm not going to use it. So that's it. That's the bio mom thing. Another thing, when I was getting ready for the baby, it was that a lot of new triggers show up. So I will talk later on about like that. I was really happy and glad that I got rid of a lot of triggers, insecurities and stuff before I got pregnant. So it was like a few years back. There were a lot of issues, and you can go and you can listen to my episode about being the second wife and what that meant to me and how I overcome that. But I can't imagine to actually being pregnant with all these old triggers. It would be super difficult. I wouldn't like it. I think I would be in pieces all the time. So what were my new triggers? So my new triggers, and there were some of them were quite funny. Some of them were like, they just stay for 1 or 2 days, and then I just thought about it, and it's just like, oh, that's quite silly. One thing that we were getting a lot of pre-loved stuff, like for my pregnancy, like some clothes I got, not much actually, but especially for the baby, we got a lot of pre-loved stuff, and I will be doing YouTube video on that. So you can stay in tune, follow me on Instagram so you can see and you can, watch what we done, how much we save, and more stuff about that. But when we start talking about getting a secondhand stuff, it was mainly because the COVID hit our businesses, my business and my husband's business, quite hard. So we were saying like, well, we can't go and get everything new because it just doesn't make sense. A lot of things are so cheap, the secondhand. And the other thing is like we have to be a little bit careful with the money right now because we don't know what the COVID will do. We obviously having backup plans with the businesses and we're doing something else. So we're working on it. But that was like, I think for a lot of people was just like, wow, we need to be careful right now with the finances. And that was actually, even before when we start talking about like getting secondhand stuff, I got triggered because I said, I was already second wife. Our wedding was already his second wedding. And he, this is going to be his second child. And, the second just start creeping in again. And I got triggered and I was like, no, I want everything new. And these just stayed with me for probably 2 days. When I thought, oh, I want everything new. And then I just had a thing and I was like, well, if you want everything new, that's not going to happen. It's just not realistic. And it would be waste of money. And I talked to a lot of parents about, how they got their stuff. And it's like, yeah, just get a secondhand, clothes, this, that, whatever you can, get a secondhand because the baby's gonna wear it for, 1-2 months and then it's gone. So I'm glad we did it, but definitely about that, watch the YouTube video when it's live. And so that was one of my triggers. The second was, and that crept in quite recently, and I did post on it on the Instagram, was that my baby won't have his own nursery. And it wasn't more about the baby having his own room, but he kind of like when he created on boards on a Pinterest, your dream wedding, your dream birthday parties, whatever you have, like if you have a dream extravaganza going on your Pinterest. And I have this nursery extravaganza going on my Pinterest. And then obviously when we don't have enough rooms and we don't have enough space for having that kind of nursery in the house, I go like, oh, I'm not gonna have this. And I got really emotional about that and really a bit upset. And I had to work myself back to normal. I was like, okay, this is just like, hey, the baby first doesn't give a shit about that. The secondly, it's you who wants to nurse it. It's not like you want that for the baby. You want that for yourself. And when you notice that, like, okay, I want that for myself, you notice like, okay, that's just nonsense, and it's fine, I don't need it, it's fine, so you just I work through that trigger. But that was interesting, and I did a post on Instagram. I got really emotional about that, and a lot of stepmoms came back and they said, hey, I felt exactly the same way, but once the baby was born, I didn't care about it at all, but yeah, when we were setting up the nursery and the house, I got triggered as well. So you're not alone who feels that way. One really weird one trigger, and that was really brief. It's just like it just showed up and went back, went away. Was that I didn't want my stepdaughter to touch my bum, and when the baby started moving and other people could feel it, I was like, I don't want her to touch my mom. It was like the first trigger. And I don't know why. I love my stepdaughter, but something just clicked, and it's like, I don't want her to touch my bottom. And then I just thought about it, like, okay, that was weird. And why wouldn't I, she's quite excited about it, or she quite like it, and so why not let her? But it was really brief one, but it was interesting. Just instantly something just kicked in, like, no, that was a weird one. Another trigger was for me being scared that I won't get what I want. So there are a few things in terms of pregnancy and the baby that I insist on, or they will be like, I have to put my foot down, or I need to really clearly communicate that with my husband, that this is what I want, this is what I'm expecting, and I'm not making compromises. It's, and they are not silly things, or they're not, like, I don't want, I don't even kind of think about silly examples, but they are, for example, again, with the COVID, baby is due in November, so that's a flu season, that's just, craziness. So I will be very careful about visiting, visitors. And I told my husband that I want first 2 weeks, like, nobody is coming in, we will be alone, we will bond with the baby, we will just calm down. Who knows how I will feel about the, after the birth, if I will have a C-section or no more birth or whatever happens, I don't know. So I was really, kind of putting my foot down, and it's not about being, wanting too much, wanting things that are a bit, diva style, but it's about, like, okay, this is what I want, and this is what it's gonna be like, and you need to communicate that very clearly. If you have things like that, you need to communicate that with your partner really clearly, that these are things you are not making compromises about. And we still will have a chat with my husband about other things. And one of the on the list is, like, no visitors. He needs to understand that if my stepdaughter is sick, she will either cannot come because, COVID, and she's back at school. So we need to be really careful in the first few weeks before the baby get all the vaccination and all the stuff. So we will need to be really careful. So I said, like, it's not like you can't see her, but we have to come up with some plan. The same thing about emergency babysitting. If we go to, if something happens and we need to go to hospital when she is here, what we are going to do. So there's a lot of things to think about. And in a way that it will take me nicely to this next point, is that you really need to communicate with your partner. And just because you're stepmom, it doesn't mean that you don't have a rights, or you can't speak up for yourself and what you want. I don't want any crazy requests, or I don't have any crazy requests. There are things which I think are really sensible, which are applying for any new mom or any new parents, especially in this, what's going on now with the COVID. And you don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. And if you're pregnant and you know that something triggers you, and I will talk about a few things that, what we put in place when I got pregnant in terms of my stepdaughter. So don't be afraid to speak up and stand for yourself. You have a right to do that, and you have a right to get what you want. That takes me to another thing which we had to I had to communicate, and that was that my husband needs to step up. And that doesn't mean that he's not involved or he doesn't care. It's just because the baby is his baby, and his daughter is my stepdaughter is his daughter, and if there are things that you need to communicate with the ex, it's not your place. It's his place to talk to her. I think like that's my opinion. I think it needs to come from him than me. And it's nothing about, I don't want to talk to her, but there are a lot of things like, oh, maybe she will take it better from him. I don't know your situation. I don't know what's going on, like, what relationship you have with the mother of your stepchildren. But I feel like it's his responsibility to do a lot of things around the house, helping me, with getting things ready for the baby, being up for this 2 weeks period when I don't want anyone here. So there's a lot of things that he needs to step up, and I was he had to chat. I said, like, you need to talk to your daughter as well about if she's worried about something, or if she's getting jealous or insecure about the new baby in the house. I said she may be talking to you, she may be willing to talk to you more about it than with me. And it's like, you need to find out, you need to talk to her. I'm obviously will be talking to her as well, but you're the dad. She will be probably, if she will be scared of losing someone because of the baby, she will be scared of losing you, not me. So it's like, you need to talk to her. You need to make sure that if she has any questions, she can ask. If she's worried, she needs to talk to you, or she can come to me, obviously. But it's not everything on me. Like, I can't handle everything. I can't handle my pregnancy, getting things done, my business, all the things that are going on, plus making sure that his daughter is okay. Not 100%. He's the dad. He needs to be the one who talks to her as well. So if your partner is kind of like, oh, no, she's fine, or they're okay, no, they need to talk to them, because you don't know what the kids are going through. And yes, my stepdaughter was a little bit worried that she will lose the time with her dad, because when the baby is here, he will be all the time with the baby, and he wouldn't like to spend any time with her. So yes, she was worried, but they had to figure it out. They had to talk about it, and he had to make sure she's okay. Another thing is, ask for what you need and what you want. So the same one, don't be afraid. The dads need to step up. If something what you want in terms of pregnancy or the baby arriving has an impact on your stepchildren or the ex, in terms of being flexible with the time and around the time when the baby is due, because you probably will have to change the schedule with the kids if that's a possible. He needs to go and ask, can you please be flexible? Can you please not book any holiday in that time? Blah, blah, blah. He is the one who needs to sort it out, because in a way it's his time with his children and the new baby. And it's not about like, I don't care about my stepdaughter, and it's like, it's his kid, his problem. But this is the actually area which is not my area to sort out, and it's not my area to talk to the ex about the schedule. Is his area to figure it out and sort it out. And a lot of you ask me about my pregnancy, the baby, and my stepdaughter. So we talked to her about that we're planning to have a baby in the future. I think my husband even told her when we were trying. So she it wasn't out of blue a thing. And she knew that's gonna happen at some point. So that was, I think, a bit helpful, but not everyone can do that. Not everyone, it's planning pregnancy. For someone, it's a surprise. So if you feel like you want to talk to them about it, go ahead. go ahead, talk to them about that, but you don't need to if you don't feel like that's the right thing to do or it will stress you. I probably wouldn't go back and tell her that we were trying, or I would tell my husband, like, don't tell her that we are trying because we don't know how long it's gonna take. But again, my husband, he just has to tell her everything. He told her straight away that I was pregnant. So that was another thing like I didn't completely agree with. But he was excited. He couldn't pretend or lie to his daughter. So there we go. He said that. We had to obviously had a chat with her about that it's too early. And it's better if she won't say anything to her friends or anyone, because then if something goes wrong, then we have to obviously cover miscarriage as well with her. So that was a bit, it just got a little bit more complicated. But I understand that my husband was too excited to not to say anything. So unfortunately, that's how it went. In terms of talking to my stepdaughter about things, I think it's just when I feel like I need to talk to her, or that topic has to be covered, or I had to tell her something. Otherwise, I just told my husband, just keep an eye on her, keep chatting to her, keep asking, I don't feel like I had to talk about too many things. Again, if you feel like you want to tell everything, or you need to have a certain chat, do it. We had a little chat about how babies are made, and so otherwise, I'm just, if you're like always asking, do you have any questions? She's asking about the baby as well, how I'm doing, how is the baby doing. I show her on the different apps how the baby is big. What's going on with the baby right now. I share with her when I was sick, or when I'm emotional. It's like, hey, I'm just really emotional right now. So I talk to her about these things, but I don't overcomplicate it, or I don't talk too much about it. I don't make it too much of a big deal of it. So that's in terms of getting her involved. Some stepchildren wants to be involved in terms of, choosing the name, going for the shopping, for baby clothes shopping, or pram shopping, or anything like that. Some stepchildren are like that, they don't care. And I think it's up to you to see where you stand and where your stepchildren at. And if you feel like, they don't care about the baby, or they are not liking it too much, then don't take them for the shopping, for the clothes or pram shopping, because they can just they can ruin your experience. They will not ruin it, but if they will be just standing there with bitter faces or just annoyed, and this is something you're looking forward to do that, just don't take them with you. Do it when they are not with you, and don't let them spoil you the experience. We took my stepdaughter for the pram shopping, or browsing for the pram, and she loved it. She was excited about it. She likes going around the baby clothes and looking at it. So I know that I can do that with her, these things. But again, if your stepchildren are not excited and you know that, leave them outside it. Don't get them involved in the stuff you want to enjoy and you want to have a good memories. A lot of you ask about if I feel like I'm pushing her away, or I'm worried about pushing her away. There was a time when I still sometimes feel that I'm quite scared what's gonna happen when the baby arrives, like how I will react, how protective I'm gonna get. So that's one thing. We talked with my husband, and I said, hey, if I will do it, if I will get somehow overprotective, that I don't want her to touch the baby because she's back at school, and or if she's sick, and I said no, she cannot come here because the baby it's too early to visit being sick and visit the baby. That he needs to understand, and he needs to explain to that to her, that he needs to explain why is that. It's not because I don't want her here. It's because of the baby, because the baby is really, fragile and sensitive to everything. So this is one of, or if I will have a baby blue and it's like I won't be able to look after her, or don't want her around me, he needs to understand that, like, okay, this is time to talk to her and explain to her what's going on. Just take her aside, and it's like, let her be, don't bother her. So this is all the things that you need to communicate before and prepare. So doing extra preparation for the arrival, but you will do it even if you have a, if you have a second child, you are preparing, you're preparing your own child for the new baby as well. So we have to do it with my stepdaughter in a slightly different way, but it is still preparing the other child for sibling. Even though it is half sibling, it's still, and I'm not her mom, so we have a different relationship. We still need to kind of prepare for these situations, and it's all about talking to each other and make sure that we know where we stand with my husband on these sort of things. So once the things happen, or if they happen, he knows what to do, or I can just give him, friendly reminder, and he will take it on and he will deal with that, or we will deal with that together. So these are the main things that I've been dealing with as a pregnant stepmom. As I said at the beginning, I was really, really, I am still really glad that I got rid of all my old triggers, the massive insecurities and all the crap I had in my head before I got pregnant, because I don't know how I would deal with it right now. So just in case you haven't dealt with your stuff and you find yourself pregnant and you're a stepmom, seek for help. Let me know. You can DM me, you can send me email, or wherever you want. And just don't be alone in this, and just start working through your triggers and your whatever is going on. Because it can easily affect it, or had an impact on your pregnancy, your experience of the pregnancy, or on the baby arrival. So, how I said, I had some new triggers we just crept in, and I was really surprised about them, but I was able to kind of get rid of them quite quickly. And there is the podcast for being the second wife, so you can go have a check on that and see if that helps you as well, if that's your trigger right now and you're pregnant or you're not pregnant. But yeah, have a look on that one. And that's pretty much it. One more thing is, if you feel like you're pregnant and you have to be around the mother of your stepchildren, and you feel awkward, or it's you feel some sort of jealousy or anger or something coming from her side, don't take it personally. Don't let it in. Just step back. If she start kicking out, or if she start having problems, it's your partner, job to sort this out and deal with it. It's not your problem. Try to disengage from that. It can be awkward. It can feel like the kids can be way too excited about your pregnancy and going home and talking to her about that. And if she's not feeling as excited for you as the kids, it can trigger her as well. So try to understand her, but in a way, don't let that in and don't make the big deal out of it. It's these are her triggers, these are her problems. If she has problems with your pregnancy, it's not your problem. Don't let that ruin your pregnancy. Really disengage. If that means that you will be hiding at the pickups and drop-offs, or you will tell your husband, okay, I'm not doing drop-offs or pickups right now because things are really awkward. again, communicate with that with your husband or with your partner, and make it your own, and it's nothing wrong about it if you feel like you need to kind of hide, or it's better not to be around her when you're pregnant because it causes her pain or it causes upsets. And that goes to the kids, and that goes to the co-parenting. Just talk to your partner, and it's like, hey, I think I should disengage and a little bit limit the time I see her because things are getting awkward or things are getting weird. So speak up for yourself. Don't be afraid to tell what you want and ask for what you want. And yeah, if you're stepmom and you're pregnant, congratulations, and just enjoy it as much as you can. There will be up and downs, and there will be beautiful up and beautiful downs, and horrible downs, and it's such a roller coaster. It's a new chapter. Just the pregnancy itself is a new chapter in your life. As for a woman, that for a stepmom, and another chapter starting when the baby arrives. So there are always new chapters, new things, new issues, new feelings creeping in, showing up. And I must say, I'm enjoying my pregnancy so far. And I've been really grateful that everything so far is very good with me and a baby. And enjoy it as much as you can. And just really talk to your partner about everything, even the very silly things. He needs to know that what you're going through, why you're emotional. Sometimes like, hey, I'm just being hormonal, don't worry about it. And that's fine. But sometimes you just need to say, okay, this is what I'm dealing, and I need your help. I need you to step up. I need you to deal with that. So don't be afraid to talk.